Welcome back to another episode of Producergrind Podcast. Carrington and JB with me.
What's good?
We got Rico Brooks in the building. What's good, bro?
What's up?
What's good with it?
Shoot, man, just happy to be here. Happy to be alive. What a time to be alive.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, we definitely appreciate you pulling up. This is our first, interview with an actual manager, producer manager, artist manager. So definitely, like I said, thank you for pulling up.
Appreciate you having me.
Already. So yeah, we definitely want to use this as a way to really clear up a lot of the common questions and misconceptions that the community at home has about managers and what exactly their role is and stuff like that.
Yep.
So we definitely pulled a lot of questions from the community.
Okay.
So shout out to everyone that dropped a comment on our IG post and everything. But like I said, we got a whole bunch of those questions. But first, we want to just kind of like start and find out a little bit more about you and your journey to success and where you are today.
Yep.
And I guess my first question is, what was like your first either dream or job or experience in the music industry?
Actually, I was kind of like born into music. Coming from the South, from Albany, Georgia, like my uncles were DJs. So my mother and grandfather, they were heavy into the church. So I had to go to church like every Tuesday and whatever, Sunday. And then we had Bible study at the house. So we were always around music and gospel music. I actually sang in the choir when I was a little kid. Mm-hmm. So I grew up around music. That's all I knew. My mom, she played music around the house too. So I was basically I consider myself born into music. Not like the music business, but born into music. So being around that influenced me, and I just fell in love with it at an early age. Then you want me to keep going. Then we can get to after I graduated from high school from Albany, Georgia, I moved to Atlanta. Went to Atlanta Metropolitan College, which is now Atlanta State. I think it's Atlanta Metropolitan State College. Mm-hmm. And then once I graduated from there, I have an associate in history. I transferred to Morehouse. I have a BA in history from Morehouse. And then after that, this is when it really got real because mom was like, hey, it's time, your turn to pay the bills now. Right. So I was like, phew. I was like, what could I do? And I wanted to I was going to go to like grad school at Howard, study like African-American studies. I was a history major at Morehouse. And that summer, I just got a job working at a record store. And this was just like when you're, when my passion met my I was like, oh, wow, I could see a way that I could really make a living doing this or something I really was passionate about, something I really wanted to do. So I started working at the record store. Shout out to Carl for hiring me. Carl Harris gave me the job at Greenbrier Mall. I just was there. Started reading Billboard magazines, started reading the liner notes of CDs, meeting people Goody Mob was just coming up at this time, Outkast. So Goody Mob had their in-store at Greenbrier Mall. You would see all the guys coming through, walking through the mall. You might see Crisscross running through there.
They had a store there?
Yeah, Peppermint Music did. So I worked at a record store. And we had stores in all the urban centers in the malls. We had one in South DeKalb, we had one at West End Mall, and one in Greenbrier. And so I started off as a third key. Then I migrated from third key to I think what was it? Third key to sales associate to third key to assistant manager to manager to district manager. So I was over 7 stores in the Atlanta metropolitan Atlanta area. And, so I really got into it and I started meeting these cool people. Met people like Dan Brown, he had Bone Crusher coming up, Vince Phillips. So we helped position them to get deals. And then I met Block, Russell Spencer. This is really what thrust me into it. Because Block had this group, Boys in the Hood. That's Young Jeezy was in the group, Jody Breeze, right. Duke, and Big E. And so he's like, hey, I want you to manage this group. And so started working with them. And I was like, this is it. I knew this is what I wanted to do.
Were you thinking the manager route before that, or was it kind of just...
No, I just knew I was good at managing people and I was good at customer service. So when I was in college, I had a customer service. I was working at Kroger bagging groceries, right? And so bagging groceries, then I became a supervisor. What it taught me was customer service. When a old lady comes in and her eggs are crushed and she's devastated, her day is I'm like, no, ma'am, I got you. Hey, run back there and get another batch of eggs. And I made her day, So I learned how to make people happy.
Yeah.
And that transferred over to management. So I was good at like managing people and supervising people. So I just transferred those skills over. And then when I worked at the record store, being like a district manager, you have to like motivate people. You have to like incentivize them. Like you have to like move them. You have to push them to do better. And I took those skills and I transferred them into the management when I started managing acts. You know, it's a little different because, you know, like you're actually dealing with someone's career. You know, somebody who's working at a record store, they're just like, man, I'm just here while I'm in college, man. I really don't, you know, you don't have to give me this big spiel, you know. But some of the guys, I want to push them to do better. Like, hey, sell more CDs or do whatever I need you to leave the store nice and neat. But I try to transfer some of those skills over to artist management. And some of it worked real well because some people had like horrible customer service, you know, like they wouldn't get back to people, not follow through. Presentation stuff I learned in college, like how to put a plan together. Because I had met a lot of cool guys like who were very talented, but they didn't know how to put their ideas on paper and present them to like a distribution company or a record label or even put a marketing plan together. So I'll put these plans together, present them to these street guys and they would love it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So from Boys in the Hood, you know, the success of Jeezy kind of was the demise of Boys in the Hood. Then I went with Block, signed Young Jock. So I did Young Jock for 2 years, Grammy nominated, toured around the world, made a couple of dollars. Then we did Gorilla Zoe. You know, I did that for 5 years. Toward the end of my tenure with Gorilla Zoe, I started getting the itch to do something different. And I wanted to work with producers. And so that's how I started. I met Sonny Digital. I loved him. I was like, let's go. Sonny changed my career. Shout out to Sonny.
And where was Sonny at in his career when you first met him?
Sonny did racks, but it wasn't out. Okay. So like Sonny was like, I think he had just turned 18 or he was 18. He had just turned 18. So he had produced this. Zoe was doing like these mixtapes. He was doing like a mixtape a day for a month. So he would literally wake up in the morning, record like 8 to 10 songs and upload them to the mixtape site. I think it was a live mixtapes or my mixtape. I can't remember. That Piff, maybe, yeah. So he needed beats, and Sonny was supplying these beats. And when Sonny was supplying these beats, we loved them. I loved them. I was like, I want to get with this guy. So I got with him. He had already signed a pre-production deal with another company, and so we couldn't sign him. But I did, I could manage him. So I started managing him. I introduced him to 2 Chainz, you know. So they did 10 Summers, him and Ross. Then they came back and did Birthday Song. I was like, hey, I like this management game, you know? Yeah. So Sonny introduced me to some of his friends, D Rich, B Weezy, then Metro came along. And we just been rolling, you know?
What made you want to go work with producers more, like, after you finished working with artists? Like, what attracted you to them? With producers, with artists, for example, it just takes so much out of you. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically. It's just like, it was just so much. Like, you can only do, to me, I feel like you can only do 2 or 3 really good, just bandwidth-wise and just, time-wise, because you just be consumed and inundated with, it's just so heavy. You have to really be in tune. And so, but with producers, I had these relationships and connections, so I just needed the beats. You know what I'm saying? So if you gave me the beat, for example, there was a guy out of Texas I started working with, Youngstar. He gave me a beat CD, and I was like, I'll just go give these beats to 2 Chainz, and that's how I Love Them Strippers came about, you know? Came to plug.
I would burn the records the CDs, the beats to a CD. I would listen to them. I would put them in order by the way that I think they were the best. I Love Them Strippers was number 3 on that CD. You know, I gave it to 2 Chainz. He was like, he was riding around the country on the tour bus, and he was like, Reek, we got one, you know? And that's how that happened. So for me, producers was a way where I could still have a life and not just be my whole personal life was just consumed by these artists. I could work with producers, and it's not just I could still do other things outside of just managing people, you know?
So
what's the most tedious thing for an artist?
Well, the artist, to be an artist, to be successful, to me, that you have to kind of like be really, really selfish, you know. You have to it has to be all about you.
Right.
There's some good ones like, you know, Dr. Dre, he was a producer and an artist, but like the artists, most artists, the successful ones, they're very like selfish, you know, like, but a producer, like an artist, it's hard to say, hey, look, I hear this song, I think this is my best song on my album. You can have it. Most artists are like, crazy, you know what I'm saying? But a producer, with producers, they could be like, hey, look, here's my best beat. I give it to you. They're not like, I mean, they want to help you. And some producers are artists too. But I feel like artists, it just takes a lot. It just took a lot out of me, you know? And I just didn't want to deal with that every day in and out, like of just being around people all the time, you know, because if you're successful, think about it. Like with Jock, you know, he made the Forbes list. And if you're successful, what you want to be, you're going to be with these people more than you're going to be with your family.
Right.
So, like, we did it. I clocked the tours. I think we did, like, 150 shows one year and, like, 160 the next year. So, it's like...
Wow.
It's probably just, like...
So, you got to adapt to their lifestyle and stuff like that?
Yeah, or you really got to like each other. You know, that's what I realized. So, like, because... and you have to plan, like... You have to plan the fun because the pain is gonna schedule itself. So you plan the fun, right? So we would have days where like, okay, Mondays you're off, Jock, like because we would just be doing these shows, and at some point you're like, well, how much money is enough money? And then you ask another question like, how much makes you happy? You know what I'm saying? And it's like we were on the road, but then people started. After I realized, I don't know why this number is true, but it seems like after about 2 weeks of being around people, you just don't want to be around those people no more. So I would always take breaks, you know, so we should take breaks and like get away. I don't want to see you, don't want to see me. We just go do whatever and then come back and regroup. But you have to schedule those in. I think I was learning early on, I didn't know that, but now I just try to schedule in those breaks because we all need a break and we all have lives outside of music.
Come back fresh and stuff
Yeah. People like to do stuff back then. You know, you didn't go online to pay your bills. Like people just wanted to go to the phone, you know, pay their bills. They want to go get a haircut from their barber. Yeah. You know, they want to go see their auntie. They want to eat. Like they want to do things that normal people do, you know?
Now with producers now, why do you think it's easier for a producer just to give away, like you said, their number one beat or... Because it's not as like it's not vocally you expressing like an idea or something about you or...
I think honestly, because they wanted the producers, he wants to see the best in the artist, you know, he wants to see, so it's a different perspective. So he wants to give the artist the best version of themselves. So he's like, hey, look, if I have this for you, you can have this. If I don't have it, maybe I can create it for you, you know?
Right.
The best can create it. Like, I don't have, let me hear what you got and let me see what you're missing and which way your vibe is, where you're going. Here's something, I heard it. If I don't have it, let me go back to the vault and cook up something and I'll be right back with it, you know?
Since we're on the topic of artists, it brings us to our first question from the community. This is from Kickback Couture. Shout out to July. We definitely mess with July. She said, what habits do your most successful artists have? And I'm going to add producers onto that as well.
Yeah, because nowadays I want to make, sometimes there's no differentiate. It's hard to differentiate between a producer and an artist because some artists are producers, some producers are artists. So but I feel like some of them have the same traits, you know, it's just a little different. But I feel like some of the most important traits are like talent. I mean, people take it for granted, like, but you really do. I feel like you have to be talented. I've heard some songs that like, oh, I didn't really care for that song, but to have a sustainable career over a long period of time, you have to be talented, in my opinion. I feel like you have to have work ethic. Like, so there's a saying that hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And I truly believe that, you know? So if you look at guys like in any profession, I think Malcolm Galway had this 10,000 hours thing. But I feel like, I was just reading the story, KD, like he basically lived, ate, and breathed basketball for like his first, up until now, probably until he just got hurt recently. So it was just, you have to be consumed with it, and to be the best, it has to be all about that, because then you got people gunning for you, and so you have to have that work ethic. I feel like you have to have like relationships and connections, because if you have talent you have work ethic, but you don't know anybody. And now the internet makes it a lot easier. Sorry about that. So, but if, for example, iBeats, he was hard worker, he had the talent, and then he met me, and then he sent me some beats, and I sent them to Oliver. Oliver gave it to Drake, and now here's a guy who didn't speak English at the time. He did the Galachester record for Drake and got a placement. So for example, Bobby Johnson, he was producing in Germany. He was a kid. He was in college, and he sent these beats to Q, one of my former clients, and Q made this on OG Bobby Johnson. Right. Me and Tunde signed him. Shout out to LVRN. And he got this placement with Beyonce, So, and we connected him, got some other good stuff going for him, but he made those connections, and then that plays a big role into it. And like your skills.
Is that something that when a producer looks for a manager, if they're not necessarily as good as the networking aspect, is that something a manager will do for them?
Yeah, definitely. And now if you're looking for a manager, certain things you should look for in a manager, you definitely want to look for someone who has relationships and connections, because if the manager has those connections, then he or she can make calls and make things happen. They can help fast track what's already going. Now they can't just move a train that's like totally stopped, but they can't help fast track something, in my opinion, that's going, but they can't want it more than you, and they can't be outworking you.
I've heard
so
you
a lot
talk
of
about
times
that.
I feel myself like, damn, do I want this more than the artist or the producer? Am I outworking them, And that's another reason why I have like multiple clients, because I'm like inundated with like requests, and sometimes I feel like I can't fulfill the request, and it really aches me like inside, because I'm so competitive. It hurts me when I feel like, oh, we didn't make this album. Oh, I didn't get this. Man, I know they were looking, they were asking me, and we just didn't go to that session, or we couldn't make this happen. So I really want to be like, have the bullets. You know what I'm saying? I need the bullets. I got the guns. I need the guns. I need the ammunition. Let's go. Let's load up. So yeah, definitely. You want to look for someone who's passionate. I actually wrote this down because it's on the manager side too. So a lot of times, what a manager doesn't know, he or she can make up for in passion. I'd rather have one passionate person on my team than 10 people who are just like, oh, I don't know about this. Because if a one passionate person, they could really make a big difference. You want to look for someone who has access to finances. Not that they should be financing your career, but sometimes you need to make that trip to New York or LA, or you need to get that laptop fixed, or you need to like get in the studio with whoever, and then the manager will be like, hey, look, I got you, bro. Boom, let's get this. We'll get it. We'll figure the rest out, You want someone who has leadership ability, because when you go in certain rooms, someone has to be the adult in the room. If you're in hostile situations, which I've been in some, if you need to go talk to the police, or if you need to go talk to the fire department about, hey, look, we're about to shut this club down, you can't be out there like high as a kite, So you have to be like, go out there, look, sir, boom, and talk the talk, you want to look for someone who's likable, I would do something for people I like. If I can, I'd rather do it for a person that I really like. If I don't like you, I had a friend, he was a rep, and so he had access to these tickets, right? And that when they have access to tickets, people, hey, so-and-so, I need tickets to the such and such show. And if he calls you like, and you're a butthole, like you never looked out for him, you never gave him or her props, or did, help him out, and you asking for something, it's like, I don't even like you, you asking me, but he'll probably do it for you if they like you. Hey, oh, that's so-and-so, hey, let him in, Then you want to look for someone who has vision, someone who, you may be here, but I could probably see you in a Vegas residency, Okay, we're in this room now, but I could see you doing tours, I could see you chart topping, I could see us traveling the world. You want to get with someone who has vision, and it's different from sight, so many people actually have sight, but they don't have no vision,
Dang. No, that's, I like that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, because when you said you got to be consumed by it, and I was thinking of this clip I seen on Gary V's Instagram where he was talking to some like aspiring artists that came up and asked him a question, and he was saying like, you need to be in the mud. You don't need to have a job. You need to just be 100% every day, all day, making music, doing whatever it takes. Who cares if you have money or not? Do what it takes. You know what I mean? How do you feel about artists and producers having full-time jobs in the beginning?
Well, I think it depends on each person's personal situation, you know, like, because I don't know, like, I always, one of the first things I do when I do work with a client, I want to know, like, the scope. I want to know what's happening, what needs to happen, you know. So if you're married and you have kids, obviously that's not gonna work. You know what I'm saying?
At all?
Yeah, I would not. It would be hard for me to tell a grown man, hey, look, man, you know, and it depends on the age too. And they're like, hey, look, I just want to pursue this. But you're like, you don't. So I feel like success is different, you know, because I would hate for you to be a success in the business and a failure at home. You see what I'm saying? So now you're saying success, but you're like, oh, I put it all on the line. But if you do, I mean, what are you doing this for? You know, you have to define what success is for you. Now, for me, like, it's real easy for me. I have a daughter now, 2 years old. It's like, it defines, like, what can I leave to her? What am I doing? Is this something that's going to help her, benefit her? Then my vision is clear, you know? But if it gets to a point where it's like, look, this is not working, or if I can't make it happen in the music, I would have to go find something. I can't be like, oh, I'm just going to make it for the music. Like, but hey, she can't pay for daycare, you know? She can't pay for school, so it's got to make sense, you know? Like, even when Barry Gordy, like, he borrowed the $800 to start Motown, his family, he had to write out a contract, and it wasn't working for him at first. Like, he asked, I think he went and got a part-time job. He had to pay the bills, you know? So I can't speak. I love Gary Vee, but I think each person's situation is different, you know, and I don't want to go against what someone says. If someone says that, hey, if you want to follow that path, but me personally, I could not sit back and, like, see my family struggle or people I love, and I'm not being able to provide for them. And I've had clients who are like, look, I can't make it, so I'm not making it. Not that I can't make it, but until I do get to the point where I can be, like, fully engulfed into it, I have a part-time job, or I have a nighttime job, you know? Because sometimes that I'm telling you, nothing drove me more to go hard at school until when it was so cold outside, and I was at Kroger, and they say, hey, Rico, it was cold and rain. They say, we need some buggies. I'm like, it's cold, it's rain, it's snow. Like, who you think gonna go get them?
Right.
I was like, I'm studying my butt off, because I knew I didn't want to do this for the rest of my life.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you know that you gotta make it, I mean, nothing's gonna go harder for you than you like, look, I'm frying chicken. Yo, this ain't it. You know what I'm saying? So that motivates you more. Like, sometimes having that little job, I tell interns, I tell kids when I go speak at colleges, get an internship. And I say, because when you get the internship, you're on someone else's time. It's your time, but you're still in school, so you're learning what you like and what you don't like. So if, like, you're in a studio session, some studios let you smoke, and you realize, damn, I don't like smoke. Like, you might not want to be a freaking engineer. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because you're going to be around this all the time. You know, if you don't like, not that all artists, or some artists may yell at you, you know, this might not be maybe you need to be like the accountant, you know, for the studio. I don't know. But once you're in those positions and you do those internships, you can figure out what you like and don't like. It would be hard. Yeah, I would hate for you to become a lawyer. You went to school where you knew you had to read to become a lawyer, but you realize, damn, I don't like to read. I'm like, this is not going to be a good career path for you. You know what I'm saying? Right. Or if you have a bad attitude, but you're the tour manager, so you got to speak to the venues, you got to sell up, you got to do everything, and you represent the artist on the front level. Like, man, you should be the cook, because you might need to be in the kitchen, because you going to mess up everything. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I feel like each situation is different. And if you have a situation where, like, if it's a parent or somebody that, you know, is in dire straits and you need to go get a job to get it, I would say do that. I would be happier for you than you just sitting around if you're not making no money and, like, just letting stuff slide.
Thanks. I wanna add to that too. Like, a lot of producers and artists, they look at getting a job as just like people look at getting a job as just like it's something that is just gonna kill you, and sometimes it's something that you have to do. Yep. You know, even though it's your dream and stuff, it may not look like your favorite artist. Oh, they may have had a job before. You know. You know, just you may need a little boost, you know? Yeah. But people are scared to get jobs.
Yeah, no, it's been times where, like, the way the music money works in the music business is cyclical, right? So, like, if you're a writer, you sign the BMI, ASCAP, CSAC, whatever, you get paid quarterly, right? And then if you do a publishing deal, you might get paid, depending on which company, you might get paid quarterly or you might get paid semi-annually. So if you're used to getting a check, I remember my mom, she told me, she was like, I could never be a manager. I could never do the music business because you don't know what you're going to get. If you're a person who likes to plan and work things out, it's hard because you don't know, like, it's checks that I haven't got paid for in 2 years. I'm still waiting. I know Sonny talked about this. We're waiting on checks. Like, you know what I'm saying? So if the artist and the producer's waiting on check, guess what the manager's doing? And we only get a percentage of a percent. You know what I'm saying? Right. So it gets even deeper. So, no, but I totally feel you. I'm like, hey, look, do what you got to do and make a choice. And if you're worried about what other people think, then you're already on the wrong path, to success. You're on the wrong path because, like, at the end of the day, you have to be fulfilled and you have to be happy, Right. So
I had a question. Before we started talking about like getting a job, you were mentioning vision. Yeah. What are some practical steps to help someone develop vision that doesn't have vision right now?
Yeah, I ask them, I want to know, like, when I sit down with clients, I ask them, what are your short-term goals? What are your long-term goals? I ask them, like, I met a young lady at the grocery store the other day. She's like, I'm going to go to college. And I'm like, well, what you want to do? She said, I don't know. I'm like, well, what do you like to do? She said, I don't know. What would you do for free? I don't know. I'm like, you need to really sit down and think, like, just like, what do you do, like, for fun? And some people, I forgot the percent, but it's a large percentage of Americans hate their jobs. They just do it to pay bills. Right. You know what I'm saying? They don't actually love what they do, I think it was like 30% of people actually love what they do, but don't quote me on that. So, but I feel like so many people get consumed by money that they don't look at, like, dang, because after a certain amount of money, we figured this out, like, after, I don't know if it's 70,000, whatever, but after your basic needs are fulfilled, right, money doesn't make you any happier. So, like, if you're a millionaire, and then if you're three times millionaire, the 3 times millionaire is not happier than the millionaire. You see what I'm saying? He's probably not happier than the guy that makes 85,000. Right. If I had to guess, But I'm gonna tell you this from my personal experience. When I got like a large sum of money, I walked outside. I said, "This shit still feels the same." You know what I'm saying? I still gotta go to the bathroom 3 times a day or whatever. I still gotta eat. I still gotta go on, do whatever I gotta do. I still gotta do everything that normal people do. Only thing it makes the quality of my living better, So now I have a bigger TV. I got a bigger car. If anything, it might become a little more inundated with like requests for like, hey, Rico, can you do this? I got people asking me for stuff I would never ask people, Not like, hey, can you borrow $20? Like, how about $20,000? I'm like, what? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but the vision, I feel like, find out what you like, what you want to do, and then have someone who, maybe if you don't know, someone can see that in you. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times I'm always reading. So books take me places I've never been. Also, traveling took me places. When I went to like France, I went to see like Claude Monet's house. I fell in love with flowers. So I go to different countries. I went to Yugoslavia, saw like the Twin Cities. So I see all these things and it just motivates me. And I actually, another way I help people with their vision, I actually, when I sign clients, because I have guys signed to me too, not for management, for like publishing, I'll take them on a trip to LA purposely, intentionally. We go to Beverly Hills and I take them to Rodeo.
Just so they could see
everything. They see like, right. I remember my brother when he got on his first flight, right? And we went to LA and we checked into this house in Beverly Hills and he walked in and he was like, I gotta get me some money. But I'm like, this is not the money that you can, it's not gonna get it a 9-to-5 money. This is not that kind of money. Like that's what I'm talking about, like working at a whatever store. That's not gonna get these things. But I do that on purpose. Like I take them to Rodeo, we walk around Beverly Hills and we see like the 90210, what is the nicest. So now you can see it. And once you see it, I believe you can achieve it. Like I got Glizzy in town right now. Like I took Ron Smoke to LA, but I got Glizzy, he's up here from North Carolina. So I'm just taking him around like to the studios. He met like Quaid, Tay Keith, Jetson. So now he's seeing this. He's only 18. He's like, oh, you know what I'm saying?
It becomes possible.
Yeah. Because it's not like I just hear about this, but I actually could touch this guy. I shook his hand. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like when shout out to Block 2 for when he would take me to those meetings, like whether it was meeting Kevin Lyles or Puff or with Leor or Craig and Julie at Atlantic, he would take me in those rooms, and now I see how the biggest of the biggest execs thinks, and so that's I listen and learn,
Right.
let's go to a fan question here, and this one might be the biggest one here. Shout out to my best friend Jacob. He said, "What does a producer need to have going for them before they get management involved?
Fact.
What should a producer expect from a manager?"
Yeah, I feel like you'll know when it's time for a manager, like when it becomes too much for you, like to focus on the creative. So if you're having to it becomes so much of a hassle, so much more that you can't really focus on actually your creative path. So but if you're just sitting at home every day and nothing's happening, I need a manager. You actually don't need a manager. You know what I'm saying? But if you got stuff going, you're getting ready to get a placement, or you have a placement or a big placement or something coming up, or someone wants to sign you, I would say get a lawyer before you might need a manager, because you might need the lawyer to look at the management contract. You know what I'm saying? So
I feel like that's a little gem right there.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a little gem.
Yeah, so because so many people have signed contracts before they got a manager and before they got a lawyer, and then they get the manager and we look at the contract, we're like, bro, what did you sign, you know? Or the lawyer looks at did you let him sign this? No, I'm just started managing him now, you know? So get your lawyer first, you know, because you're gonna need the lawyer to negotiate your contracts with your manager. And if their deals do come through, if you're gonna be a producer, ideally, hopefully you'll be getting placements, and then the lawyer can help set up your business structure. And so once there's money coming in, it can flow the proper way, you know, for tax purposes. But for the artist, I feel like you will know, and each case is different, but say, for example, Sonny had just did Racks on Racks. Zoe, we wanted to sign, we wanted to start working with him. I knew I wanted to introduce him to some other people and help him, and I know he was talented. He was a hard worker. He just needed a little more oomph, you know? And that's what we did.
Now, when you said guys are just, you know, sitting at home and they're like, man, nothing's happening, what kind of things, you know, if you don't have a lot of money, you don't have a lot of connections, you might be in the middle of nowhere, what can you start doing?
Yeah, I feel like producers listen very close. Your beats do you no good on your computer. You know what I'm saying? Upload them to YouTube, upload them to BeatStars, upload them to wherever. Get them out there. You SoundCloud, because they be like, what if somebody steals it? It could be the best thing that happens for you, right?
Right.
So if a big artist steals one of my guys' records, I just say, thank you. You know, I kind of wait, if it hits number one, if it's number two, I'll wait a little longer until it hits number one, you know, because then it's number one, there's nowhere to go, right? You know, so, and then we can start the negotiation process, because we can go get your money if you have your files and everything in order properly. So producers, if you don't chase the big artists, chase the next guy. Your guy that's sitting next to you could be the next thing. If you're in college, it could be your college roommate. It could be your college buddy. It could be the guy in class that you like that's looking crazy, that you always look at yo, what is dude wearing? You know what I'm saying? He could be the next one. So get with those guys that are around you. If they're not around you, just spread your beats out, you know, put them different places, have someone. There's so many avenues for producers now, to get their music out there, you know, that you didn't have then. You know, I was reading the story about Lil Nas X got this beat for I think it was $30. You know, yeah, was it BeatStars or something like that? Yeah, so it's you know, I'm get your music out. It does you no good on your computer, you know?
But then right there is a good point, because someone might think of, a producer might be like, yo, what if I had the next Lil Nas X and he bought it for $30?
Yeah.
It's going to be on number one. I just got $30 for it?
Yeah, but look, this is the thing, right? This is the thing. That's just an advance, right? So say if he got $30 for that, he paid $30 for the beat, right? Even though it was a sample. Yeah, it's a sample, but now the record becomes a hit, right?
Right.
I don't know if Sonny told y'all the story about Racks, right? I don't know if he told y'all. Did he tell y'all? I can't remember. Racks on Racks, he sold the beat for $300. You know? Yeah. But his first royalty tax was six figures. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you could give the beat away for $1. If Jay-Z said I want a track, I would ask for advance. But if he says, nah, bro, I just need this beat, I'll be like, okay, Jay-Z. You know what I'm saying? I know you're a billionaire, but if it becomes a hit, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna trip, because the money is not in the advance. So many people get caught up in the advance. And I've seen producers lose placements because the advance wasn't high, right? Well, high enough. So I'm so you're gonna refuse short money, and you're thinking wrong. You're just looking at this totally wrong, right? So you get the advance, which is normally it's recoupable anyway. So if they give you $1,000, you got to make that back before you see a royalty check. But if they only gave you $1, then you don't have to make that. Then you all of profit. But I know the producers at home, they got to pay bills. They want a car. The guys he has made a beat on their track, and he's doing shows every week, every day. And you're like, man. So I get that part, but get the placement. I'm telling you, trust me, you'll thank me later. If you see me, just buy me a drink. But like, I'm so glad you told me to give him that beat, because if it becomes a hit, so Nas X became a hit, right? I don't know what Keo got, but I think it was a big deal because he signed a publishing deal with UMPG, and they're one of the big publishers. If I was his manager, it would have been really, really big. I think Steven Victor knows what he's doing, so I know they went and got the bag, So
when you're selling a beat, like if I got my BeatStars website and I'm selling my beats I got a $45 lease. The $45 is just an advance on the money that's to come off the record.
If leases, that means you don't completely own it. Then they have exclusive. So if it's exclusive, and then you could probably work out the terms. If it's leased and it becomes a hit, they were like, hey, let's redo this. I want to own it now. Then you might have an exclusive price. But it's just an advance against royalties. Most of the time it's recoupable. So when a producer gets a placement, they say, you're gonna ask you, well, what's the advance? And they say for example, they may say $7,500 on the high, $10,000, whatever. And then once you get that $10,000, that's just an advance against what you're gonna make on the back end.
Okay.
So don't miss the placement for because
it's not a large installment.
Yeah, because the advance is not large. Because if it becomes a hit, then we're going to all be rich. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Now, speaking of advances, been talking to a lot of people about publishing deals and stuff like that lately. And mostly everyone says pretty much it's just a loan. It's just an advance. Like, how do you feel about producers saying, forget a pub deal and just waiting on that money?
Well, you can wait, but if you don't have someone to collect the money, you'll never get the money. You see what I'm saying? So in the music business, they have what is called you have to issue licenses. And you have to the music has to actually be licensed, and someone has to collect the money. So if I did a beat on A$AP Rocky, but I never did a publishing deal, you may get your royalties, but you won't get your mechanical royalties. You may get your producer royalties because you signed an agreement, but you would not get your mechanical royalties from publishing, from the records that's sold, because you don't have a publisher in place to collect that money. You don't know how to do that. You see what I'm saying? And it's bigger than just the U.S. It's like territories all over the world. So if you go to Midem, that's in the south of France, and Cannes, some publishers, all they do is they go there to meet all their sub-publishers. So imagine, the U.S. is just one territory. It's the biggest territory. You got Japan, you got all these, imagine hundreds of territories across the world, right? And your song is played across the world. And you didn't do a deal, so who's gonna collect the money? Even if it's an admin deal, at least someone, if you do an administration deal, they take a larger percentage. You still own the copyright, but they collect the money for you. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And they have deals in place to go to each territory, because no one can collect money for you unless they have a deal with you. But if you don't have a deal in place, you'll never get the money. And there's so much money each year. It goes in what's called a black box. So if songs are not collected, money is not collected over a certain period of time, it goes in what's called a black box. And after that, in the black box is split up between the majors who own so if you don't do a deal, they're like, okay, cool, he won't collect his money, we'll put it in his box. And after so many years, I think it's 3 years, they'll just split it amongst themselves.
Wow.
And you'll never see the money.
I remember asking about that because I always wondered, I was like, can someone just buy, let's say I know this guy didn't do an admin deal, he didn't do anything. Can I just bid on getting this money, like claiming his record? But I guess you say just go to this black box.
You would get with him and be like, hey, look, let me collect this for you. I'll take whatever percent, and then you'll do the licenses in each territory, sub publishers, and go get the money from him. Once you collect your piece, once you recoup whatever you gave him, then he gets the rest. You see what I'm saying?
So if a producer is patient and they're like, I don't need a big advance right now, they got a big record out, would you recommend just take the admin deal?
Yeah, if you don't need the money, I would recommend the admin deal, right? Because and each situation is different. A lot of producers, they need a car, they want a house, they want equipment. You see what I'm saying?
I say be patient, man.
Yeah, it's hard to say be patient when your baby mama like, look, man, shit ain't working for you. You know what I'm saying? I'm about to take you to court. You know what I'm saying? Or like, hey, I need mom needs to have this surgery, you know, or my uncle, you know, different things. I need to get out of my auntie's house. She tripping, you know. I'm playing this music all night, and she's like, I don't want to hear that. You know what I'm saying? So it's each person's situation different. But if you don't need the money, do an admin deal, low advance, or it could be high advance. But you can still, it's still admin. You still own it. You know what I'm saying? But if you want to cash out, you like, hey, look, I need this. I want a studio just like this. I want a house. I want to live right next to, I don't know, I want to live next to Jermaine Dupri or whoever, you know. I need this money. You know, I want this car because I need to pull up a certain way. I wouldn't advise that, but I get it, you know?
Were you about to say something?
No. I do. What type of deal, okay, the admin deal, and then what's the other deal that gets you the large advance?
So you have 3 types of deals. Normally you have, like, generally speaking, you have like the single song deal, right? So it's just one song, and then you have a admin deal. It could be like, generally admin is anywhere from 5 to 15%, you know, maybe 20% on the high end is what they take.
And they just are collecting it.
They just collect your money, you own it. You have to approve everything. You have to sign off on everything.
And that's the same for a single deal as well. A single
song.
Well,
it depends. Yeah, it could be a single song admin deal, or it could be a single song co-pub deal. You see what I'm saying? But it could just be for that one song.
Okay.
You could be like, look, hey, I just got this one song. I just want to get my feet tested. See if I don't know if I like you. I don't know if I trust you like that. See if what you do on this one song. If I like what you do on this, or I got this one song that's going. And the same on the record side. They like, you know, a lot of times you might get a single deal. If they like that, and it goes into, there may be an option for another one. Maybe mutually agreeable. Maybe like you have last final say, so you be like, no, I want to do it. I don't want to continue to do business. And then there's a co-publishing deal, full co-publishing deal where you give up half for the copyright. Generally, they ask for a larger advance. The producer or the writer asks for a larger advance, and then the publishing company co-owns these copyrights for a certain amount of years, depending on how you negotiate it, you know. There may be reversion clauses in there, may not, you know.
So so when you say they own the copyright, co-own the copyright, what is the copyright of? Is that just that just declares my ownership of this record?
So just by default, just by copyright law in the U.S., if you make a beat and I rap on it, we co-own the copyright.
Okay,
they made it real easy. But now if you start monetizing it and another company wants to monetize it, then they have to do a deal with you. That's why a company can't just pick your record up and just put it out. They have to do a deal with you.
Is a copyright different from owning the master?
It is different. So the master is like the underlying composition. So you have the musical bed, and then you have the music that's on the bed, which is that goes to it, which is called the what's it called? Like, so you have the music, which is the actual notes, the music. Then you have the top line,
which is the sounds.
Yeah, no, the top line is the lyrics. So that combined together makes 100%. So the music makes 50. And the lyrics make the other 50, and put it together, that's 100. So imagine a pie, right? Music, lyrics, 100%. That's the copyright, right? And then when you finish it, that's a master. And then if they want to use that, then they have to pay you, you know?
That makes sense.
Now you just said, you were talking about how it depends on how you negotiate. I heard you talk about in a past interview, you were kind of dropping some gems on negotiation tactics, and you said you should try to always be prepared to walk away from a deal.
No, I say if you want the best deal, but I don't advise that, you know, because you could lose the deal, right? So there's a good deal. I said you could get a good deal. A good deal, let me think of how I said this. So a good deal is when both sides are happy, right? You know, you gave a little, they gave a little. A great deal when you pushed hard, right? You really, really pushed, and you could have probably pushed for more, but you're like, everybody's still happy. You hit them, but you didn't hurt them, you know? But a great deal, to me, the best deal you could have is the one where you may lose the deal, excuse me. But if you lose the deal, say if it's $1 million deal, and you go, I think I should be 1.5. I feel disrespected. I should be 1.2, you know? I'm like, that's not $1 million. It's not like you wasn't making that, right? You know what I'm saying? It's not like it's just like nothing, you know? So I feel like that's a substantial amount of money, me personally. But you could push and be like, I should be 1.2, I should be 2. But you don't know your numbers, right? Your numbers may go up. Something might happen. You might get in between, you, God forbid, but you might get locked up in between negotiating this deal. So what was now on the table
is gone now.
Yeah, because I seen it happen. People was like on the way to sign the deal and something happened. So they're like, or the label look at the numbers the next week, they get cold feet. But it was all good just a week ago, you know? So I feel like if there's something on the table, I always say get in the door. Because if I get in, I can get all y'all in. You know what I'm saying? But we can all be outside knocking, trying to get in. Or one of us can get in. Like, hey, man, I paid $20, bro. But I'm in. Guess what? I'm going to get all y'all in. You know what I'm saying? I know the secrets. I learned everything. I show y'all. Get in the door. I seen people like, they fighting. I'm like, bro, get in the system. Get in the door. Then, because guess what? If you're successful, guess what you can do? You can always do it. If you're successful, it happens all the time. Ezekiel Elliott just did it. Guess what you could do?
Renegotiate.
You my man. You know what I'm saying? If you put numbers on the board, they gonna be like, what's up? What you need? You know what I'm saying? Hey, ain't happy, man. What you need? Zeke, what you need?
Right.
90 million? 6 years? I got you, man. You put numbers up. But if you ain't putting numbers up, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Then they're gonna be like, hey, bro, you feel that way? Matter of fact, I feel that way too. We can let you go. You know what I'm saying? But they not letting Post Malone go. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
What you need, bro?
200 million.
You know what I'm saying?
So let's backtrack a little bit. When we were talking about the question where he said, what do producers need to have going for them and what do they expect from a manager? So you said, they don't necessarily have to be the hottest thing out. They don't really even have to have placements, right? They just have to be moving somehow, right?
Yeah, so for example, not always, most of the producers that I work with, they either had no placements or little placements or small placements, but they had something that I saw in them. They had talent, and I believe I saw that work ethic. So most of the guys I signed, they honestly didn't have placement. Like when I signed Young Coke, who did Trap for Rick Ross.
That was a big record.
Yeah, he didn't have any placements. I heard his music. I jumped out of bed, and I always learned to follow the feeling, because one time I didn't follow the feeling, it made me feel so bad that I said, if I ever had this feeling again, I would never, if I had this feeling again, I would jump out of bed and I would get on a plane, go to Paris, go to wherever, London, I would go to Yugoslavia, I would go wherever, because when Zoe was doing, he was doing these tapes and he had another producer that he was doing that made me say, I gotta do this, he was working with Lex Luger, right? And Lex was Lex, but he wasn't Lex then, And I heard these records and I was like, damn, these records are so dope. And I called him, and he was in Virginia. I don't even know if Lex knows the story, remember the story, but I wanted to meet him, And he said, hey, I'll be in Atlanta soon, right? And I said, okay, cool, let's meet when you get to Atlanta. But between the time, I think he was having a baby at the time too. So between the time of him coming to Atlanta, having a baby, then he did these records for, I think, Waka and Rick Ross, and then it was over. It was game over. BMF, Hammer, the Waka Flocka stuff. And I was like, this will never happen to me again. I should have got my butt up and booked the ticket to go to Virginia. And I, you know what I'm saying? I should have been there, So when I had that feeling and I hear it, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm not a clout chaser. I normally never, until I started working with Southside, I had never managed a high profile producer that I didn't start with from the ground up. Even all my artists like Jock, Zoe, Boys in the Hood, we all had nothing. We all came up together. And I actually love that rise too, because when you come up together, and because imagine how Shorty Red and Jeezy came up together, how Toomp and T.I., Mike Will and Future, you know what I'm saying? So that's the best. And you don't have to chase and say, hey, can you send this beat? No, that's my bro, I know him. So if I hear it and I feel it, then I'm moving on it. So I will take that back. If I hear it and I love it, then I'm in. You know what I'm saying? Or we may do a test run hey, look, let's see if I can get you something going. We get something going, then we can turn this into something bigger.
And then what should they expect from a manager once they got a solid manager? Yeah,
they should expect me to help. We'll put a plan together, short term, long term. We'll get their finances in order. Finances or not, I'm gonna give you no loan or nothing like that. But
get them right.
Excuse me. A lot of people, you'll be surprised. They don't even have bank accounts, So I know people at banks will get this guy set up. He should not have these checks coming to his personal name. They should come into his LLC, So get him a lawyer, get his business set up, get if there's money missing, we try to track and locate and put the proper paperwork in place so that he or she can actually get paid. You know, sometimes money is sitting in sign exchange. Sometimes producer payments are just sitting out there. Nobody's reached out to the A&R admin department to say, hey, look, when can my guy get paid, you know?
Just money in the black box.
Yeah, even my relationships, connections. So I'll be like, hey, look, come around with me. I'm going to take you to meet guys from Producergrind. I'm going to take you to take Keith and Quay and Jetson and things like that. Like I'll show you some stuff. You come over, I got equipment at the house you can cook up, you know? We'll go to LA. We'll go to New York. We'll do different things, you know?
Now, how do you feel about the friend or family manager? And I'm not talking about like someone that's friends or family with you. I'm talking about someone with no connections, may even have a full-time job themselves.
Yeah, I actually like that because it falls under the position, and at least in a certain stage, it falls under, it's different to me than homeboy management because it falls under the passion part of it. Because your mom, say for example, if your mom is managing, she just wants what's best for her son or her daughter, you know? Mm-hmm. So she may not know it all, but she only wants right and good for you, you know? But then after it gets to a certain level, you want to either bring in a co-manager who's gonna professional. Because some people, like Beyonce dad, you know, he was managing there and that, but he was very professional. He was already successful in business. So, but if they're professional, they know how to handle business, but they don't know the music industry, then they maybe get a co-manager and then they can push it through like that. But if you're like homeboy management, it's like, hey, Ray just got out of jail. He's gonna be my new manager. And I'm like, what? I'm not doing this with him. You know what I'm saying? Because like he gonna get us all killed, you know, or he gonna get like I'm gonna have to teach him everything and get half, which I'm cool with, like mentoring people. Mm-hmm. But like if that's the case, like look, sit back, just ride, and I'll let you learn everything. And then once you're in a position like what LeBron did with his guys, you know, like he had them in position. He was like, look, work with my agent. Hey, look, work with my brand manager. Work with all these people. And then once they learn the business, he was like, hey, these are my guys. Jay-Z did the same thing. Hey, look, I'm going to put you in position to run with my guys and you'll learn the business. And once we learn it, we could take it over ourselves. I like that.
What about, do you ever feel like, as a manager, do you ever feel like you work so hard and then to receive a portion of somebody's check? Like, does that ever, like, do you ever feel like battle with feeling like you deserve more or?
Yeah, I never see what I realized when I felt like I deserved more, I went out and got more. So no one will ever be able to, like, I call it like holding nuts on me, because if I feel like you don't appreciate me or underpaying me or not seeing what I do, I'm going to go do it with someone else, or I'm going to go do it on my own, and I'm going to put myself in position, because I'll never let you have that power or leverage over me to say, look, because at the end of the day, we're all human beings, we're all men, and some things, money, can't buy, like to me, like you cannot buy my dignity. You can't buy my respect. It's not for sale. You see what I'm saying? Certain things are non-negotiable. They're not for sale. You know, my principles, like this is who I am. It's not for sale. I can't be bought. If you have that in your corner, you already won, because you know these people can't be bought. You see what I'm saying? If you got people that are like stand-up guys, like you already rich, you already won. So the stuff you're searching for, you already got in your corner. So when I feel like that, if you feel like that, boss up on your own, pay the cost and be the boss. Like, so I felt a certain way. I asked people certain things. They didn't want to do it. I went out and did it for myself, you know? And that way I can never say, hey, look, this person didn't do for me. If you're not going to do it, I'll do it for myself. And I always, and I feel good, you know, because I sleep real good at night, because I know I wake up, I bust my butt, and I give it my all. So at the end of the day, if whoever says whatever, at night, I sleep real good because I know I gave it my all.
Right.
Now, let's talk a little bit about studio. I heard you talk about in one of your interviews, studio etiquette, and some of the things producers should kind of check themselves on.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not in the studio a lot. Most of the time, I'm there like to handle business. Like, so we need to sign a contract. We're going over the track list, the album, whatever. But I'll pop in from time to time to show support, you know, because people want to see where the commission is going. You know, I get it. But in the event that you are in the studio, if I'm in there and I see you like fanning out, it's a no-no. You know, like certain producer or certain artists is in there, you know, this is you're privy to certain things, like, so don't be in there like taking pictures or trying to sneak a selfie or, it's like, you're gonna get us all kicked out. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, and certain artists, I would actually advise you to maybe you might want to send the beat because you're not really built for this. Like, a lot we all see what's going on in Atlanta. We saw the things that happen at studios around here. So it's not like sweet. It's not a walk in the park. So you could be every day. We could be putting our lives on the line when we go out here and do these jobs. I just got into this because it's something I love. I didn't get in it to get in shootouts. You know what I'm saying? I'll be getting shot at. So, but I know certain things come with the territory. That's why another reason why I work with producers. It's less likely to be like in confrontational situations.
How do you deal with those confrontations? Like, let's say you have a client who has a lot of beefs with a lot of people. Mm-hmm. How do you navigate that as a manager? Because you're an associate.
I've been in situations where like two guys were really trying to kill each other, and I was just like, I went to the other guy and I was like, look, can we fix something? Because Atlanta's too small to beef. Like, it's not like in Atlanta, everybody goes to the same restaurants. We go to the same clubs. So if you want to go smoke hookah, there's a couple of them that everybody likes. If you want to eat a nice meal, you know what I'm saying? You want to shop high end, you either going to Lenox, Field, or Buckhead Shop. So if you got beef and y'all both got money, you're gonna run into each other constantly. Mm-hmm. So we have to either call a truce, or we have to somebody's gonna die. We got to call a truce, or like, look, we're gonna agree to disagree and let us live and let us be able to move. And it could be done secretly and private. Nobody has to know, or it could be like we could make a big deal about it. So when it happened and I was in it, I was like, look, I can't get caught up in this. Look, you gonna kill this guy. Y'all want to shoot each other right now because I need to know what's what. I can't be ducking. I'm not gonna be ducking out, looking behind my back every time I come out of a restaurant or go to the club, So I was like, hey, look, what are we doing here? He's like, look, I ain't studying him, telling him to keep my name out of his mouth. Like, Brooke, go, let's go. Don't say nothing about this guy no more. We good. You know what I'm saying? Mm. So I actually had to be the adult and go step in and be like, look, what are we doing here? Mm. So it's best, like, if you could talk to people don't really want to be fighting, because when you got in it to get out of that, like, to make it better for yourself. Right. I always find it ironic. You get into a position of success and you start doing the stuff that, like, but I have to realize too, like, this is just a part of the society that we live in. It doesn't exempt you from the challenges and the issues that face society as a whole, especially as African Americans, because you get in the music business, because you still may live wherever you live, and your mom may live there. You might have to go see your auntie or your cousin. You might have to go pick up Ray because he trying to get out, but he's still there, So I totally understand it. I say recognize it and face it head on and try to figure out a way to, like, hey, look, navigate it, because it's not easy.
Yeah.
And like you could just get caught up in it, before you even know it. Like, damn, how did we get back here?
Yeah. And then another good fan question is, shout out to Buffo on the beat. What are some common mistakes you see upcoming producers making on a regular?
I say they sign agreements without, like, proper representation. I see so many people think like, dang, I could just sign this deal. I don't have to pay my lawyer, I was like, I don't have to pay my manager. But I'm thinking, like, see, this is I feel like that's short-term thinking, and that's not proper thinking in the sense of, like, for example, I had a producer. He was looking to do a publishing deal. And I was like, I saw the deals, and the number was like $100K, right? Now, some guy could be like, you know what? I don't have a manager. I could just sign this deal and keep the whole 100, right? But then I said, hey, look, don't sign that. Let me make 1 or 2 calls, right? So this is where the manager comes in. He or she is adding value. So I'm not just coming in and taking what you're gonna do. I'm gonna put to the pie, and then we're gonna all eat more, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm bringing to the table too. So I made a couple of calls, a couple of emails, like, boom, we got a $200,000 offer now, right? Mm. So now instead of taking this $100K offer, we got a $200,000 offer, and then I commissioned that, and then everybody eats. The lawyer, everybody eats, but you got more pie to eat too. You see what I'm saying? So I feel like sometimes you think like, oh, I'll do my label deal, my artist deal, publishing, and then I'll get a manager, like, because I'm I'd have capped out. But you actually could have maximized your revenue streams a little more if you had someone that could negotiate for you. Because, or did you put this in the, damn, I didn't know about that. Oh, you didn't know about that? Now, that could have been your whole deal, right? You didn't ask for this. You see what I'm saying? You're trying to be greedy, but you didn't know, like, maybe if I gave a little, I'm actually going to get more. You see what I'm saying? Because you give to get. You know what I'm saying?
Did you ever produce? Did you ever make music?
Yeah, but my beats would get us all shot. You know what I'm saying? If you hear some of my beats, you be like, hey, man, where my knife at? You know what I'm saying? You might be like, nah, I can't even shoot this dude. I need a machete. I got to chop his arm off. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I know certain things. I used to, when I don't never bring this up, you must have did some serious homework, right? Or you just guessed. But like, yeah, I did. I have equipment like at my spots. But yeah, I used to mess around when I was younger. I used to rap too, but like I said,
you really trying to get us
yeah,
killed.
yeah, I know, right? I suck, man. It's crazy because I was like, it's when you suck. Like my name was Rico B. You know? Yeah.
Was it Rico B's with a Z?
No, just Rico B. You know what I'm saying?
Rico B.
Like Eric B was Rico B. You know what I'm saying?
That's funny.
So what are your thoughts on this master plan Sonny's coming up with, the whole producer union? We talked a lot about it at our town hall in New York. We got more of those coming up, and I'm interested to hear what your thoughts on
I like it. I'm big support. I'm like, whatever you need from me, Sonny, let's go. You know, there are actually some programs already in place for producers, like the Grammys. They actually have a producer wing that do some of the things that we're talking about. So I was trying to link in with them, and there's other companies.
Do you have to be a Grammy winner?
No, you don't have to be a Grammy winner. You don't even have to be a Grammy member, but it would be great because I see the representation. See, this is the thing. I go to the Grammys every year. I've been going for the past, since Young Jock, since 2006 when we lost to Chameleon. And I was like, how the freak did we lose? And when I went to the Grammys, I saw how we lost. You know what I'm saying? Because if it's like 100 people in there, which is not, it's like 20,000 people. But say if it's 1,000, it's like 800 are white. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, where's the black youth that's driving the culture? That's actually, where's the representation? It's not there. You know what I'm saying? I think it's $100 a year to be a NARIS member, but we don't even vote. So we're not even at the table. And then we get mad when so-and-so didn't get nominated, but I'm like, well, did you vote? You see what I'm saying? So it's like we're not even represented. So I'm all for all things Sonny wants to do. You know, I'm pro Sonny. So whatever he wants to do, I can help him. We all got to do better, you know, as far as like becoming members. There's Grammy Youth. If you're in college, become a part of the process. You know, like we all got mad when Trump won, but you know, I think a half of Americans voted. You know, so it's like we could have easily stopped this. You know, and the same thing like with the system. If we don't like it, we can't just say we don't like it. We actually have to put things in place I vote every year. You know, I put in I'm trying to make a change. You know, I go speak to these kids. I want to influence them. I want to mentor them, put positive thoughts in their ears and minds so they can see it. Because I feel like, you know, we spoke earlier, if you can see it, if you can hear it, you can achieve it, you know?
All right. Most definitely. So what steps do you think, as far as the producer union, need, I just want to hear your side, what steps do you think need to be made for that?
Well, I need to get back with Sonny, but I feel like, he makes some really good points, you know, like producers do have rights, they need more rights, you know? And we could sit down, because we asked that after that last interview that he did, we actually got on with one of the label execs, shout out to Lauren Ray over at Atlanta. She's like, how can we help this process, you know? So does this mean having a short form that we all agree upon that's pre-negotiated? Because most producers have negotiated. If you're somewhat successful, like Sonny, you've had deals with most of the labels, right? So why do we have to negotiate every time or renegotiate every time? I know because each artist deal is different. So that's why you have to negotiate. But if it's just a standard, simple agreement that we've already pre-negotiated and those terms are accepted, we just have to look and make sure that other artists' contract balances out with this term, and we could just push these deals through. Because what happening is the business side is not keeping up. It's not as moving as fast as the creative side. So guys go in the studio tonight, they want to release it next week, you know, but you have to have certain things in place. And we just have to modernize the business side of it.
Now, how do you feel about signing like producer decks where it's like, yeah, I'm signing this, we'll put the song out, then we'll negotiate kind of thing?
I actually hate producer decks, because I feel like once they do sign these decks to get it out, the artist, sometimes the producer may need money or want the money, they'll sign it, but there's no incentive to like really push it through and bring it home. If you really, when you have the leverage, it's before the record comes out. So get everything you need before it's out. And then, they'll push it through if they really want to get it done, So I understand it, but I don't like them,
Definitely. And now, who are some of the producers on your client list now? You no longer manage Metro and Southside, correct?
Correct. Yeah. So I have, you go to my website, I have like adelathomas.com, adelathomas.net. You can see the full roster, but I have some really cool guys, too numerous to mention, too dope to mention, but I have some really cool guys. I advise you to go check it out, man. I'm really excited. I'm happy because I feel like the next one is coming. I feel like I'm 15 years in and I'm making the biggest bets in my career. You know what I'm saying? So I'm living on the edge. I'm like Mav said, the worst we could do is break even, right? Mav Carter, he said, the worst we could do is break even. I'm a kid from Albany, Georgia, man. I'm on Producergrind. I've been around the world, man. You know what I'm saying?
Thanks.
I bought a couple of things, couple of bags. I rode in some nice cars. It's more than that. Yeah. It's more than that. But yeah, I'm living my life. I never thought if they would have came to me in high school, look, in this many years, you're going to be doing this, you're going to be doing what you love. I'm like, what? No way. You're like, yes, wait, you're doing it. You're going to be doing it. And I'm living my life like it's golden.
Living my life like it's golden.
Yeah.
And we, some of the producers on the list, I know, shout out to Quay, shout out to Tasha, shout out to Rowan Smoke.
Yes.
Those guys are real dope, man. I feel like they're a little low key now, but I feel like they definitely they got talent.
I love the underdog, man. I love betting on them. I feel like, I remember meeting Tasha going down to Birmingham. I had to speak. Actually, it was Montgomery. She was at Alabama State, Tasha Catour, and I had to speak at the school while I was down there. We co-managed her together. Shout out to we co-managed her, and I had to. I wanted to meet her while I was down there, so I went down there, did my little talk at the school, and then we met. And I loved her at that time. I think she was just so dope, and I just saw what she could be and what she could become. I feel like she hasn't reached her full potential yet. So shout out to Tasha. Yeah, she's one of the dopest out. I don't like to say dope female producers because she's just dope. A dope producer,
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Rowan Smoke, yeah, from Alabama. I had that feeling. I heard some records. These records they did with Gunna. I drove down
early
to
Gunna records too.
Yeah. Phase and Belly of the Beast. I drove down there. We met at the restaurant. We came back. We did our deal. And I flew them out I remember the funny story with them. I was on Twitter, I think, and they had tweeted hey, pray for me. I'm like, damn, what's wrong, Then look, he said, I'm about to take my first flight, you know what I'm saying? But that makes me so happy, You know what I'm saying? I know, right?
Being able to expose people.
Yeah, man. And that's the feeling I get when I take them. I mean, I'm telling you, when I see that feeling, it's makes it all worth it for me, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm paying it forward.
Most definitely, man.
Yep.
Hey, man, we appreciate the gems, man.
Appreciate y'all having me, man.
Most definitely.
Hit me up. Instagram, Twitter, Brooks Rico, whatever y'all need from me, I'm there.
Yeah, this one reminded me a lot of the one we did with Carl Folks, an entertainment lawyer, who we work with real close on the Producer Town Hall series. But that one was like I said, it reminded me of this one just because we were able to pull a whole bunch of questions from the community because when, like you said, on the lawyer side, there's a lot of things producers don't know about, what to expect from a lawyer. When do they need a lawyer? And I feel it's the same way with the managers. So
no, I agree. I totally agree. So if you're out there, keep doing your thing. You'll definitely know, and you're on the right path when I start DMing you or when the big guys start hitting you up, because they gonna find you. If you're doing your part, they definitely gonna find you. And there's no longer the advantage or disadvantage of proximity because if you got guys in other countries out working you out, hustling you, then shame on you. You know what I'm saying? You're here in Atlanta. You should be at all these events. You should not let guys from other places out hustle you. Or they out emailing you. Or did you send out beats today? What's your pack looking like for tomorrow? You know what I'm saying? You can never give up because people don't see the misses. They don't realize I personally try to send out beats every day, right? I don't get 365 placements a year, but I'm shooting shots. People don't, like Jerk said, you wouldn't put me shooting in the gym. They don't see them, but they don't know how many emails it took to get that Nas X or to get that Beyonce or to get that Drake placement. Like, that's a lot of emails being sent out, you know what I'm saying? And people don't have, so you can't use the excuse of, I need to be in the studio with the artist. Like, you might not want to be in the studio with the artist, you know what I'm saying? He may be crazy, you know? He may have guns. You may be on position where you can't be around guns, you know? Not that it's all got to be negative, but you might just want to, you might be the quiet type to, like, I just want to make the music and put it out there. I want to go in and cook up, but I don't know. Each situation is different, but do not wake up and find out, dang, somebody outworked me yesterday, you know? That I can live with not making it, but I can't live with someone outworked me, you know? I can live with losing. If we're playing a game and I gave my best, I can live with losing that, right? But I can't live with, damn, he out hustled me. Damn, he outworked me. He out emailed me. He out whatever. He out hustled. I mean, he just outdid me. I can't live with that.
Definitely feel you. Now I heard you say they'll know they're doing something when you DM, so they gotta wait for the DM from you.
No, they don't have to wait. You know what I'm saying? But
no, I'm talking about if they want to be managed by
No. If you know, I go by trusted sources too. Like, if you know one of my guys and you like that you know, and you can text or email or DM them and they can send me a link. But think about it, I still have to do all my regular work, you know, and then I still have a life too, you know. I don't just do music. I like to go to basketball games. I like to go to soccer game. You know, it's the weekend. I like to kick it. I mess around in the yard. So
cutting the grass.
Yeah, not cutting grass, but messing around with flowers, you know, like one of my little passions.
Hydrangeas.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so I have a life, even though I say you have to be consumed by it, but it can't be the only thing you do, because you got to get away from it and come back and appreciate it too. So, if you want to get with me, trusted sources, I have assistants, I have interns, I have people. There are ways to get to me, you know?
Most definitely, man.
Hey, I got Producergrind now, you know what I'm saying? Y'all can tell me, like, these the next top 5 we think the next to blow, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I need to incentivize and make it work for you guys, you know, hey, let me know.
Let's get it, man.
All right.
And then it's just so they know where to go follow you and all that stuff.
Yeah, my website is adelatomas.net. Brooks Rico on Twitter, Instagram, you know, like a brother. Hit me up, DM.
Appreciate you one more time.
Appreciate you.
Peace, y'all.
Peace. Another episode in the books, man. Hit that subscribe if you haven't already.
Cool.